Hey guys, I'm Lydia and welcome back to the channel. So today you can see we are over by my sink because today I'm going to be making my favorite Southern classic that I make every year for Thanksgiving, Christmas, and sometimes just throughout the year because I be craving it. I love collard greens. I do. Southern collard greens is something that it's just so dear to my heart. You can ask my husband, I'll walk around the house with a bowl of collard greens. I don't need no meat, no nothing, but my greens itself. So, we're going to get started on this recipe. It's real simple and easy, but it does take just a bit of time to cook it down because there are quite a little bit of steps to it. So, over here, I have 2 bushels of greens. And these greens, just look at them. They're beautiful. They really are. And that's what made me grab them today because they just look so pretty at the store. I'm going to start off first by cleaning my greens. I do have a pot of ham hocks and water going for you. And I had that started since this morning. Now, I don't know. I cooked this recipe with feeling, guys. This is just a recipe my grandma showed me how to make when I was younger, and I've always made my collard greens this way. But the first thing you're going to do when you do start cleaning your greens and when you make greens, and I see people do this wrong all the time, please get rid of these stems. You don't want them, all right? So we're going to cut those away. Cut up my greens. I always clean them after I cut them. I know some people like to clean them and then cut them up, but I'm just a little backwards when it comes to that. So that's the first step that I am going to be doing. I am going to be cleaning my greens first. And I have my knife right here. I do have a cutting board to put it on. And I already cleaned my sinks out. So just to get rid of your stems, get you a little baggie. And I'm going to use the baggie that it came in from the grocery store. And I'm going to find just a couple greens just to show you how I clean them. You can get a smaller knife if you want. I'm just used to using a big one sometimes. I just slice them right down. And you can just follow that stem. Alright. Once I get it sliced down to where I want it, pop it back, and that helps you remove your skin, and it leaves you with this nice, big, pretty leaf. And we're just going to lay a whole bunch of these down right here on top of our cutting board. So as I clean them, as I cut them up and destem them, I'm going to lay it right there until we're ready for the next step, which is just cutting them down. Let me get through most of these and then we'll get to the next step and I'll show you just how I cut it. And it's a simple cut. When I do it, I just roll it up on each other. Just like this right here. And I slice it into strips. Once it's sliced up, this is what it's looking like. And I just throw it right onto the other side of my sink. So I'm going to start this. Get these all destemmed, cut up, throw it to the other side. Once we get to the other side, I'll show you how I clean my greens. Because you really do want to make sure you clean them well. We don't want no dirt, no sand, no grit, and especially no bugs in our greens. All right? So I'm going to start doing that now. So now that I got all my leaves cut, they're all cut, they're in my sink, and I did transfer them over. Now we're going to do a great cleaning to them. I usually clean my collard greens about twice, and then I do a rinse in between each section after cleaning. And when I clean my collard greens, I only use 2 things. Don't use no soap. I don't want to see it. Okay? So, always use some salt. And I always use some vinegar. These is going to get our greens clean very, very well. I promise you. Okay, as I was cutting, you can actually feel like the grittiness and the dirt that's left behind on the leaves. So that's what we're pretty much trying to get rid of during this cleaning process. So I'm going to get started with cleaning them. I already have my sink stopped up. We're going to add cold water. We're going to sprinkle salt, and we're going to add about a 1/4 cup of vinegar every time we change the water out and clean it. Okay, once they're clean, they can go right into our pot with our ham hock solution, and I'm going to show you exactly how to prep that as well. All right, so let's start cleaning first. So first thing, we fluffed up our leaves just so we can get them separated from the rolls. I'm going to take as much as I can out and just sprinkle a hefty amount of salt in between. Fill this up with some cold water. And our vinegar. Now you might get wet during this process, which is totally fine. But just make sure you're massaging your greens, lifting them up, flipping them around. That's going to help get that vinegar and salt in between each layer. And get them nice and clean. And I'm just transferring them to this bowl over here so I can get my sink cleared out. And we can do the second batch of clean. I don't know if you can see it, but if you minus the little green hint water, there's a lot of dirt in there and dust. So we're going to let that go out. I'm going to rinse my sink again. And then we'll do the process one more time, and then we'll rinse with just some plain old clean water. I'm also going to rinse my bowl out. So when I put them back in, they're not going into a bowl if it had any dirt or any particles in that as well. And these are some pretty clean collard greens, guys. So now that these are clean, I'm going to set this to the side, and I'm going to show you what our liquid is going to look like and what we're going to do exactly before we add this to the pot. Alright guys, so now we're over here at our pot. I got our fresh clean greens right here in this bowl. And then over here I'm going to tell you everything I'm going to add to our water pot with our ham hocks, okay? So we're going to do our tried and true Worcestershire sauce, of course. I have some salt. Now ham hocks are salty enough. I am going to show you where my water was compared to where it's boiled down to. I always let it boil down to half of the pot just to get that flavor in there and keep that broth as authentic and great and rich as possible. We're going to add some crushed red pepper flakes because I do like a lot of spice. We have onion powder, some minced dried garlic. I always use fresh cracked pepper. And then we're going to do a dash or two of just some regular vinegar as well. Okay, so our pot is boiling. Woo! And we're going to start just adding in our ingredients to it as we go. Once I get our ingredients in, I'll let it boil for an additional 5 minutes. After that 5 minutes, we'll add in our collard greens, and that's going to go for about 45 minutes until they're nice and tender, okay? Look at those beauties, guys. So our water, like I said, is cooked down to about half. As you can see in the first clip, we were a little over 3/4 full. Some Worcestershire. That's going to help give that depth of flavor in there. You can go as heavy or as light with your red pepper flakes as you want. I do add a good amount just because I like that kick. Onion powder. Some people actually add either real onions or like minced onions in it, but I don't. And then a bit of garlic. So like I said, we're going to let this go for about 5 and then we'll add our greens. Sauce has been going. Well, our broth pretty much has been going. We are going to add our collard greens to it. And they are going to shrink down a lot. Ooh, let me not throw any to the side. Okay. So just get it right in that pot. Every few minutes until they do shrink, guys, just come in with some tongs. Try to stir it up so you can get what's on the bottom to the top. And again, we're going to let this go, stirring it ever so often, just for like 40 to 45 minutes until these greens are perfect and tender. You see how much it's cooked down already, guys, right? Now, while I stir, I am breaking up my ham hocks. You see that? Oh, it looks so good. Look at that. Break them up. Get all that fat in there. Moved around with all of that goodness. Woo! It's hot. We're going to keep letting this go for about another 20 minutes. We'll let this go for. Alright guys, so this are collard greens. I showed you I panned them up. They're slicky and steamy. And they're so good because I'm not going to lie, I've been picking through the pot like, I want to say for like the last 10 minutes. God, you're so good. I'm telling you, I can just eat a bowl of greens and be satisfied for dinner. I'm so happy with this. Please try this recipe if you do enjoy this recipe, guys. Or you want to try it for the holidays, make sure you like this video. Subscribe to the channel because I have a lot more recipes coming for you. Well, coming to you, especially during this holiday season. So I'm going to finish these. And I'll see you in the next one. See you later.